So if you go across the UK, towns, cities, you're going to see buildings that are sitting empty. Historic buildings especially have become more challenging to make viable for commercial use. If you think about how our lifestyles changed, we don't socialise in the same way, we don't work in the same way. So a lot of the buildings you'll see may have a use on the ground floor, but the upper floors will sit redundant. Over time, these become less attractive to occupiers because of the cost to maintain that building. Restoring these buildings is so important. Providing that longevity for the building is so important. And the way that you look at it as a developer is that you're going to play a part in that history. So you will take that building from point A to point B in the next cycle of its journey. In the future, who knows what that building will become? But being able to play a part in the history of a building is quite special and quite a privilege. So we went for a higher end finish in these apartments than what you might typically see in a city centre conversion, but with consideration to how lifestyles changed over the last few years. People don't go out as much, they work from home, they socialise at home more. So what you'll see from the units we've produced is areas designated for dining, outdoor living, socialising at home more, working from home, all these things we've taken into account. And that was really the end goal, to create an environment where people can spend more time at home in reflection to how we're living in current times. I think what we've seen over the last few months is that the market can change quite quickly in property. Property in general is quite a competitive market, no matter where you build. So adding a little bit more quality to the project is so important, if not more important than ever. Going the extra mile to build quality, to put nice finishes and features, maintaining existing windows to the same standards before, spending a little bit more money to have that wow factor will go a long way. And then again, just doing things like the doors that we've used throughout the property, going for neutral, natural tones creates a nice sense of warmth, whereas you might see a lot of new build properties with these white panelled doors, quite cold, not very high quality. The doors we've used are high quality, solid doors, and again, that just creates that air of high standard when you come into the units. So when you're dealing with historic buildings and you're trying to bring them up to standard to convert, you have to put in a fair amount of effort and consideration into things like the energy performance of the building, which old buildings will not be up to the standard that we currently require. So we've had to put in MVHR systems, we've had to upgrade the windows, secondary glazing, but also what you'll see when you go around the building, keeping in with the character, is we've got custom made timber windows on one side of the building to keep in with the existing, but also the windows to the back in the old style to match the front. Again, this is all something that you have to consider when you're bringing up to standard historic buildings. What I would highly recommend when you're looking at these sort of projects is try and highlight any issues as early as possible, because when you're converting buildings, you're effectively building within that building fabric. So it's much harder to rectify problems retrospectively and go back and find issues that you may have missed. When you come up against challenges, which you always will with any development project, the quality of your team will shine through, because that team will be able to highlight issues early and deal with them. It doesn't always go straight forward. The issues we had with services was an ongoing challenge, but if we didn't have a good team on our side, then that could have really impacted the project. But it was dealt with and it was addressed in the best possible way. Moving forward, we're looking at more commercial to residential conversion projects. So we're looking at different areas across the UK to do that. We are quite passionate about restoring these buildings and bringing them back into a use. So we're going to continue along that vein, and we've got some ideas to maybe move into new build in the future.